Earlier this week, there was controversy involving high schoolers in an Arizona school wearing T-shirts that spelled out a racial slur, the N-word. Well, it turns out that members of various NAACP chapters and leaders in the state got together to have a discussion about what to do to combat this. One of those leaders was actually Don Harris, who is the president of the Maricopa NAACP chapter. That's right, that guy right there is the president of the Maricopa County NAACP chapter. Now, that point is relevant when you consider why he's making headlines today. Apparently, the leaders got together to have a discussion about this, and afterwards, understandably, reporters were asking questions. Now, as one reporter was speaking to him, I guess he made an observation, and that observation got him into a little bit of trouble. A reporter, Monique Grego, stopped Harris on his way out of the meeting. "How did this meeting fix anything?" her cameraman asked. "It doesn't fix anything," Harris replied. "We're on a pathway now to making things better." Then she thanked him and moved on to speak to someone else. At that point, Harris turned and spoke to a male reporter. And Harris turned to the New Times reporter and said, "Nice tits," referring to the female reporter that he had just been talking to. Then he said it again. Now, the New York Times was there, and he didn't realize that they caught him on audio saying that she has nice tits, and he got into a little bit of trouble.
At first, I thought he had said it to her, which I suppose would have been ruder. Okay.
It would be very, like, brazen.
Yeah, that'd be Mel Gibson-esque.
Yes.
Hey, sugar tits, right? So, to be fair, he didn't do that. He only said what people are perceiving as a sexist comment behind her back. So that's the classier way to go. Okay, now, I say people are perceiving it as a sexist comment because the context in which you make this comment, I think, matters a lot. If you're with your buddies and your bros and you're sitting in your living room and there's nobody else and you see a girl on TV,
you can be as sexist as you want.
Have at it, Hoss, right? We're not in that living room. You're not saying it in public. But this dude's saying it to a reporter, right?
Yeah.
So we can't have it. I mean,
No,
everybody knows that.
Look, I know that you want to give people a pass when they're in the privacy of their own homes or when they're talking to their buddies. A racist or a sexist comment is still a racist or a sexist comment, regardless of where it's said or what context it's said in, right?
No, but okay, so this is really interesting, and a lot of people might disagree here. But I believe the phrase nice tits is not sexist by definition. It 100% depends on the context, okay? So if you are directing it at, again, your buddies are sitting at home, they're watching, what was that old thing where they'd show, it flashed their breasts, Girls Gone Wild, right? And you go, hey guys, those are nice tits. Okay, I don't think that's sexist. They showed you the tits so you could look at them and judge them, right? If you're doing it in this context where she's being a reporter and she's trying to do her job, and then you say, no, I'm not going to judge you as a reporter. I'm going to judge you based on your body. Well, then it is sexist.
So, okay, but what I'm trying to make clear is it would be sexist regardless of where that comment is said, right? So even if it's in the privacy of your own home and you're talking to one of your buddies,
and you say it about a reporter.
You see an attractive reporter who happens to be, you know, very curvy, right? And you say, oh, nice tits. Like, that's still sexist because it's taking away from what she's doing. She's just trying to do her job. You see what I'm saying? Like, I get what you're saying about Girls Gone Wild, but here's the thing. There's a way that you phrase things, right? So, for instance, look, men and women think differently. If I see a guy who has a nice body, I don't think to myself, like, yeah, look at that guy's dick, that nice bulge, right? Men and women are just different. But it's a disrespectful and vulgar way of referring to the way someone looks.
I know, but that's why I say if it's in the privacy of your own home, it's not necessarily disrespectful because he's not there to hear it. No one else is there to hear it. So who is being disrespected? No one.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the comment itself isn't still problematic. You see what I'm saying?
I hear you. Let's do a poll on it. Okay, go to TYT app. Is saying nice tits sexist under all circumstances, right? So curious what people think.
That's difficult, though, because in the circumstance that you mentioned with Girls Gone Wild, I agree with you. But in the circumstance involving a reporter who's just simply doing her job, she's not scantily clad or anything,
right.
I feel like it definitely detracts from the job that she's trying to do.
Okay, phrase it any way you like, but you know the question we're asking you. So let's do that poll. But to me, look, I don't know if it's sexist under the definition that you've set up. It's a person trying to do their job that has nothing to do with their body. You're sitting alone or with your friends in a room. But I do know, whether it's sexist or not, I'm going to pardon you.
So you're going to pardon him?
No,
Oh,
because
not
he
him.
did it in public
Okay.
and he said it to a reporter, and so that is disrespectful, and everybody hears it, yada yada. But
yeah.
if you're in your own home and you do that, I think like that's not my business, that's your business.
So let me be absolutely clear about where I stand on this issue, because I think some of our members and our audience think that they can't compliment the way I look because they think I'm going to take it the wrong way. Complimenting the way a woman looks is completely okay. Like, it's sweet, it's nice, but statements like nice tits or nice ass or whatever, it's usually not meant to be a compliment. It's usually meant to belittle what the woman is doing for her career, belittle what her skills or her talents are, and focus solely on a body part or a physical appearance, which is why it comes off as very disrespectful. Saying a woman's beautiful or attractive, that's totally fine. I don't get offended by that at all, right?
So this is the part where we totally agree, because if what you're trying to do is sexualize that person in a context where it is not appropriate, right? Now, if you're doing dirty talk in the middle of sex, sexualize away.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That makes sense, right? But if you're dealing with, let's say, a United States Congresswoman, you don't talk about her body. That's not relevant. That's sexist.
Yes.
Okay. So she's trying to do her job. If you're Angela Merkel, the leader of Germany, to say, "Hey, nice calves," I don't know. Okay, not appropriate, right? So context matters. That's my take on it. But for this guy, it's irrelevant because the context was terrible.
No, the amazing thing is he's the president of the NAACP chapter in Maricopa County. There's a picture of him shaking hands with George Arpaio, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and
Joe Arpaio, sorry.
Joe Arpaio says, "Oh, my old friend Don Harris." I'm like, really? Why is the NAACP leader friends with Arpaio, who's a well-known racist?
Yeah, it's because he's, I don't know. This is all very questionable. Now, I want to give you his response to the reporters who called him out on the nice tits comment. He says, "I'm going to slash my wrist. Better yet, I'm going to throw myself out of a fucking window, except I'm on the first floor." What? "I'm one of the best goddamn people in the state."
That's one of the best quotes of all time.
What?
They're like, hey, maybe you shouldn't have said that, right? He said, "I'm throwing myself out of the first floor." Okay, wait a minute.
I don't know what he's talking about. "I've given up my law practice. I'm down here 6-7 days a week. That's what my commitment is. I support NOW, the women's organization. Goddamn, are you shitting me? Are you gonna write this up?"
Yeah, it turns out they did. Okay. By the way, and I want to go back to the original girls who did the N-word thing. I had said when we first did that story that the asterisk was probably not in the yearbook picture. A lot of you pointed out it was in the yearbook picture, not in that order. Obviously, it was in a different order. So it was probably less premeditated. They probably just got together and was like, "Oh, look at this, ha ha ha, he, he."
Yeah,
It still doesn't make it right. And he was ironically fighting against that, right?
I know, it's incredible.
So I don't want you to look. Don Harris, for these quotes, should be judged on both ridiculousness and amusement. Okay. But at the same time, my guess is he didn't get to be the head of the NAACP as a white guy in Arizona by doing bad things. He probably had a track record of doing really wonderful things, and that's why they voted him to be the leadership of that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so give the guy his due. But Don, if you didn't want this to be a problem, you shouldn't have said things like, "I'm one of the best goddamn people in the state." Who are you, Donald Trump?